line of symmetry. So if you recall, graphically, there's that vertex point, that line of symmetry goes through the vertex like that. Okay, now the question is, well, how do you find it? So this quadratic's in this form, ax squared plus bx plus c, that's standard form. The x coordinate of the vertex is minus b over 2a. Okay, so what's your value of a and b and c in this quadratic?
B is,
Sorry, a is not 1. That was a typo there.
okay. A is -1.
It's -1. It's the number in front of x squared. B is the number in front of x. What would that
2.
be? And c is the other numbers. C. Okay, so what is minus b over 2a?
-2 over 2 -1.
Okay, what does this simplify to?
1.
-2 over -2, which is 1. So the line is x equals 1. So we've done that before. I know you know how to do that. Let me see if there's any other like that here for axis of symmetry. There are not. So the next one is when the equation is in this other form. Let me grab this other problem here. I'm just snipping it. Get that put in here. Okay. What is the equation of the line of symmetry for this parabola? Now notice it's in a different form altogether. Okay. Now one of the things you could do is you could go to Desmos and you could graph it and figure out where is that vertex. That's one possible way to do this problem. You could do that in the previous one as well. The other way is to just figure out the vertex point. So this is in vertex form, x minus h squared plus k. Your vertex is at h comma k. Do you remember how to find h and k when it's in this form here?
No, I don't believe so. I remember.
Okay. Do you have Desmos in front of you? Do you want to try graphing this one instead?
Yeah, I can try graphing it.
Okay, so I want you to graph it and tell me the vertex point. But I want you to do it quickly. We got limited time here today and lots of problems to go through.
Okay, I have a graph.
Okay, what is the vertex? Give me the coordinates of the vertex.
Parentheses 7, 11.
Okay, now let's look back at our equation. Is there a way that you could have figured that out by looking at the equation now that you know the answer?
I think so.
You see how h is 7 and k is 11?
Mhm.
So you can, that's one way to do it. You can graph it, which I think would be best for you, or you can try using the formulas. Now, the line of symmetry, it goes through the x coordinate of the vertex. What is the x coordinate of the vertex?
7.
7. So the equation is x equals 7. Any questions on that?
Nope.
Okay. All right, so let's look at another one here. Another problem that you were given. So here they gave you a graph, and I want you just look at this graph here. I want you to give me the coordinates of A, B, and C. The X, Y ordered pairs for A, B, and C.
A is 2, 0.
Good.
B is 6, 0.
Okay,
And C is 8, 4, or the other way around.
which one is it? Because A and B are correct, so use those as your guide.
Okay, so it would be 4, 8.
We're coming, yeah. Okay, great. Now, C is the vertex. A and B are what are called the intercepts or the zeros of this thing.
Mhm.
Now, the problem itself, it says, which of the following is the correct equation for it. All right. So let me just snip those in. So one option, and this is where not everything doesn't work for every problem. So you could literally graph all of these and figure out which one is exactly right like this. Okay. But there's a few things you can do to figure out how to eliminate a couple of them. Okay, because I don't want you to graph all these. So the vertex is 4, 8. Okay, and actually, if you look at this one and this one, they both have the correct vertex of 4, 8 because it's -4 that goes with 4, and then 8 goes with 8. Same thing down here. So what is the only difference between those two answer choices?
The one I got wrong has no 2.
That's right. So there's really no way to determine that from the graph. So I would tell you to just graph those two and see which one is exactly like the one that you have here, because only one of them will go through the points that A and B. Okay, now it can be very tedious to graph all of them. So you want to try to get it down to a couple of answers before you use that approach.
Okay.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
All right, so let's look at another problem here. All right, so let's look at the important places on this graph, A, B, and C. Again, could you give me the coordinates for each of those, please?
Okay. The coordinates for A is -4, 0.
Okay,
Coordinates for B is 2, 0.
okay, and for C?
And C is -9, 0.
So A and B are correct, but for some reason, when you got to C, now 2 times in a row, you've given me an answer that is not correct. Use A and B as your guide. In A and B, you first went left and right first.
Oh. So it's 0, -9.
Yeah, I can see why you said it's -1, -9. The zero is really there, so
Okay.
a little odd. Okay. Now, the value of H and K. Okay, H is -1. K is -9. So here's your vertex form of a quadratic, x minus h squared plus k.
Mhm.
So
Okay.
what's the value of h?
Oh, -1.
So it's x minus a -1 squared plus -9.
Okay. Matt,
All
you
right.
see
So
that?
what does that simplify to? What does it simplify to inside parentheses?
Um, -1.
Two negatives make a positive. Okay.
Okay.
And the reason you have to be able to do that is it helps you to simplify the number of answers here. All right, because when you look at the answer sheet, there's a bunch that could be like that. Okay, so I see where we should go here. We should spend a little time on this again. So let me give you some problems here for you to try. All right, so let's say I tell you the vertex is 2, 5, and this is the standard form of the quadratic, x minus h squared plus k. So h is 2 and k is 5. Okay, so where do they go in this equation on the right here?
The 2 goes where the H is and the 5 goes where the K is.
So like something like this, is that right?
Yes.
All right, so now what happens if the vertex is now -2, 5? What goes inside parentheses?
X minus negative.
X minus -2, right?
Mhm.
But we
Plus.
can't leave it like that.
Okay.
So what happens to the two negatives?
They turn to positive 2.
+2. X plus 2 squared plus 5.
Okay.
That okay?
Mhm.
All right. So now what if they're both negative now? So let's go. Hopefully you've been writing this down. Let's say it's like -3, -4. Y equals a, x minus h squared plus k. Go ahead and give this a try. I'm just going to step away for 30 seconds and be right back.
Mhm.
Okay, Jeremiah, I'm back here. What goes inside parentheses?
-3.
And what does that simplify to?
X plus 3.
Okay, and then over here on the right, it's -4. So notice that when it's a plus inside parentheses, the vertex is negative. The x value is negative. Do you see that? These are
Yeah.
different. Same thing in the previous problem. If it's positive here, it's negative there. They're different in sign. Okay, this one right here is negative, and that's why it's positive vertex. Is that okay? Is that clear?
Yes.
Because now we got to go the other direction. Like I've got to be able to give you a problem. I've got to say, okay, y equals x minus 3 squared plus 5, and I need the vertex, and it's either 3, 5 or it's -3, 5. Can you tell me which one it is?
3, 5.
Why is it 3, 5?
Because it becomes the opposite.
Exactly. Yeah. So here's another one. -4 x plus 2 squared minus 3. Is it 2 minus 3 or is it -2 minus 3?
It's 2 minus 3.
The top one.
Mhm.
But didn't you just say it's opposite?
Oh, sorry. Then it's -2, -3.
It's this bottom one here.
Mhm.
Okay. All right. So now here's one for you to try on your own. Y equals -2 x minus 1 squared plus 3. What is the vertex of this one?
1, 3.
1, 3. Very good. Okay. I think you've got this down here. So let's see what else you've got here to work on. What did you work on today in class, if you remember?
Graphing.
Graphing. Okay. So I'm looking at let's see here. Today's the 22nd. Finding the zeros. I don't see anything due today.
No.
No. Okay. What is the quadratic formula? Maybe we could look at that quadratic formula. We haven't done any of those.
Okay.
So we'll take a look at this. It's related. All of the stuff we've been doing is related, but we'll see if we can work this out here. Oh boy, they're giving you the symbolic questions. Okay, that's not very helpful. Sorry, just trying to find some other things for us to work on here. All right, let me just find a quadratic formula worksheet for us to look at. All right, so here's a first problem we might look at. X squared minus 5x minus 14 equals 0. And it will say something like use the quadratic formula to solve. Okay, so for the quadratic formula, you have to know the value of A, B, and C. Okay, so can you give me those values for this problem?
Okay. A is 1, B is -5, and C is -14.
Perfect. Okay. Now here's the quadratic formula. Minus B plus or minus the square root of B squared minus 4AC all over 2A. All right, so these are the values. These are the values. These letters correspond to the values in your problem here. So you have to know this formula. You have to memorize it, get it down, but then you have to be able to put these numbers into the formula. So B is -5. So it's really minus a -5 plus or minus the square root. Now B is -5, so that goes in parentheses. Whenever you substitute for a variable, you put it in parentheses. A is 1 and C is -14. All over 2 times the value of A. A lot of times A on the bottom there is 1. Any questions on that? Just substituting those numbers in?
No.
Okay. Now, out in front here, the two negatives cancel each other out. It becomes 5 plus or minus. Now, you've got to be able to do the part inside parentheses here. Okay, just the part inside parentheses. So, do you have a calculator handy? Do you want to try and do that with math, mental math here? Do it by hand. How do you want to do this?
By calculator, I guess.
Okay, so do you have a calculator you can use to tell me what this result is? -5 squared minus 4 times 1 times -14.
Yep. So then it's square root 25.
No, not the square root. Don't do the square root. Just do the part under the square root.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's important. There'll be a reason we do that here.
Is it 9?
Yeah. How did you come up with that? Did you, because you've got, if you don't type it in exactly the way I'm typing in here, you will get a different answer.
Oh, okay.
And then you have to, that's the parentheses are there to help you with order of operations and sign. I mean, it is 25, but then you've got -4 times 1 times -14.
Okay.
So what do you get under the square root? What is the result of that?
$81.
Okay, over 2. Now sometimes, okay, you can take the square root of that number. What is the square root of 81?
9.
Yes. So this becomes 5 plus or minus 9 over 2. Now this one worked out nicely, but it actually ends up being two separate equations. 5 plus 9 over 2, 5 minus 9 over 2. And you have to do the part in the numerator first.
Okay.
Can you give me those two numbers?
Oh, the first one's 14.
That you're dividing by 2. Gotta give me the final answer.
Oh, 7.
Okay. And then the next one?
-2.
-2. Very good. Okay. So sometimes, like I said, sometimes it works out, really nicely. And there's really no way to know going into the problems. But the quadratic formula that you're going to see, they're not going to be as nice. So we're going to work on some problems now where the answer just is not as nice here. So here's a new problem. The instructions will say to use the quadratic formula. Okay, so what is A, what is B, and what is C?
A is 2, B is -7, and C is -3.
Perfect. Okay, so the quadratic formula is opposite of B plus or minus the square root B squared minus 4AC all over 2A. All right, so what I would do here is just substitute the numbers in. I wouldn't try to simplify anything. I would just write the numbers, always substituting in parentheses. Even for the positive ones, they go in parentheses like this here. Okay, I want you to take care of the part that's under the square root here.
Okay. Is it plus or minus 49 plus 24?
Just the part under the square root, Jeremiah. Don't take the square root, just the part under the square root. -7 squared, minus 4 times 2 times -3. And I recommend that Desmos Scientific. That's the best one. Would you like me to show you that Desmos Scientific calculator again, or do you?
I have it.
You've got it. Okay. Just enter it exactly the way you see without the square root.
Okay. Is it 73?
It is 73. Yeah. So you've got 7 out in front, plus or minus the square root of 73 over 4. So the part under the root, that's the most difficult. I mean, that's why I'm having you do it, because that's the part that's going to be the most problematic. Now, sometimes you can reduce this root, like sometimes it's a perfect square, sometimes it is not. This one is completely done now. This is your final answer. There's nothing more you can do to solve this problem. So any questions on that?
Nope.
Okay, let's do one more here. Let's go 9x squared plus 4x minus 16 equals 0. We can solve using the quadratic formula again. So you've got to figure out A, B, and C, and we're going to substitute them into this formula here. So whenever you're ready, go ahead and give me those values for A, B, and C.
9, 4, -16.
Okay, perfect. And then again, like it's a lot of writing, but it's, you know, you're not doing this by hand. You're using a calculator to help. So we've got 4 squared minus 4 times 9 times minus 16 over 2 times 9, like this. So again, I'd like you to try the part that's under the root there for me.
Um, 592.
592. Yeah, it is quite large, isn't it? Yes. So 16, let me just. Yeah, okay, so this becomes minus 4 plus or minus the square root of 592 over 18. Okay, now we did this in a previous lesson where we reduced the square root of 592, and we do that by looking at prime numbers. Okay, so the first prime number that you know is 2, and then you just keep trying 2 until it doesn't work anymore. You see, does it go in? And it keeps working. And then you try it again. You're like, all right, we'll try it again. 2 and 74, 2 and 37. And if you recall, we bring out pairs. Does that at all sound familiar?
Yep.
So for each pair, you bring one out. So the square root of 592 ends up being 4 squared 37 over 18. And then to finish this off, you end up dividing each of these by 18 here. It becomes negative 2 over 9 plus or minus 2 squared 37 over 9. So we can definitely do more quadratic formula next time, but it is a holiday this week, Thanksgiving. I hope things turn around for you. Hope you end up enjoying it, getting to do something fun. But I'll be here next week to help you as always. But that is it for
Okay.
us for this week, Jeremiah. Thanks for letting me help you today.
Thank
And
you.
I'll send you the notes here shortly. Yeah, you're welcome. Have a great rest of your week. Bye now.
Happy holidays.
Yes, bye.